It's a very quick way to shut down any kind of conversation or any kind of engagement on your content. Hi YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. If you are new around here, hi, I'm Bella Foxwell. I'm an Instagram strategist that drops a brand new YouTube video to this channel every single Friday, all about Instagram marketing. If you are a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for your ongoing support. In today's video, we are talking all about comments. How can you generate more comments on your Instagram account? It's a question that I get a lot, and the reason that it's so important is because when you get lots of comments on your content, it's a really positive signal that your strategy is working and that your content is resonating. This is because it's an active form of engagement. Unlike the like, which is being hidden and has been hidden for most regions around the world now, like is a passive form of engagement. It doesn't take a lot for somebody to double tap. It's almost ingrained in them now. I think our thumbs have muscle memory. We just know how to double tap now. But actually getting somebody to stop what they're doing, to take 30 seconds, 60 seconds out of their day and leave a comment on your content when they are being bombarded with so many messages from hundreds of different brands and Instagram accounts and businesses every hour, the fact that they're doing that on your content really shows that your content is working and resonating. It's also the beginning of a relationship. So never take for granted that some comments and dialogue that you have in the comments section of a post, never take for granted that that actually could be somebody that might turn into a customer or client down the road. I can't tell you how many times I've started a relationship with someone just by having a bit of back and forth in the comments section. And that has been really the beginning of something wonderful. That's been the beginning of a relationship with someone that I've gone on to work with, who I've done some consultancy with, who's bought a course from me. So that is why it's really, really important. The comment section is golden. And so you might be sitting there wondering, thinking, how can I actually generate more? I'm really frustrated. I don't know how to generate more comments. It's what I want to do. Well, this video is for you. So the first thing I'm going to mention today is that it's really important that you write a purposeful caption. Now that might sound really obvious, but bear with me. I'm going to show you on the screen now what not to do and now what you should do. Now, the difference between those two captions is that the first one was meaningless. It had no purpose. It was very meh. And when I have shared a caption like that in the past, it doesn't generate many comments. The content, as a matter of fact, generated a lot of likes, but it didn't generate any comments because why would it? It wasn't a conversation starter, and I wasn't telling anybody to actually engage with me. Now, the second caption, on the other hand, it had a purpose. It was meaningful, and it included a call to action. But we'll come on to calls to action a bit later in this video. The first thing I want to say is that it's really important that your captions have a purpose. That might be inspirational, motivational, personal, educational, it might be promotional. But every caption you write should have a purpose. It doesn't mean it has to be long, but it should have a purpose. You should be thinking to yourself, what do I want to achieve with this caption? How do I want to make my audience feel? Always check that question with yourself before you share a caption. If it doesn't have a purpose, if it isn't meaningful, it's unlikely to generate the comments that you want it to. So always ask yourself that before you share a caption. The next piece of advice is to always, always, always include a call to action. We are, as human beings, inherently lazy. If we are not told to do something quite actively, quite forcefully, i.e. drop a comment below, tag a friend, share your thoughts, let me know what you think. There are so many different ways of saying it, but unless we tell people what we want them to do, unless we tell them what the action is that we want them to take, people won't take any action at all. I'm going to put a quote here on the screen by a writer of the book StoryBrand, Donald Miller, that I recently read, which is brilliant. And he put this really good quote in his book about how important it is to actually encourage our followers and our audience to take action, because otherwise they won't do it at all. So if you are not used to putting a call to action in your content, in your caption, if it feels weird to you, don't worry, it will feel weird at first, but I promise you, it's really important that you do this. Again, if you don't get a lot of response with the first few calls to action that you include, This is normal, this is natural. People need to get used to seeing you do this, but you must include a call to action in your content. If you don't, people won't do anything at all because they, oh, it was a nice caption, great, and then they'll move on with their day. Tell them you want to have a conversation with them. Tell them you want to hear their thoughts. Tell them that you want them to drop an emoji below, and then even if it's just an emoji that they drop, you can then follow up and have a dialogue with them. What did you think about that caption? What were your thoughts? And make sure that you are following up with anybody that drops a comment below so that they know in future, when Bella puts a call to action in her captions, she actually does then follow up and we have a really nice chat. So I'm going to do that in the future. I'm going to comment in the future. But always, always, always include a call to action. So the third tip is to use hashtags and to use them wisely. Now this is a whole other video in itself, and I've created, I think, 2 videos so far all about hashtags. I will link the videos above my head, and do go and check those out after this one if you want a deeper dive into hashtag research. But essentially, you want to make sure that you are being really strategic with your hashtags. You want to make sure that if you are a smaller account, and I count a smaller account as anything up to really 10,000 followers, you want to be using predominantly small and medium volume hashtags. Again, this is all described in the video that I'm linking to above and below in the description box, but you don't want to be using really popular hashtags. You want to use hashtags that are specific and targeted and are related to what you do, but also to what your target audience does. Now, if you do this wisely, if you do this strategically, and if you mix up the hashtags that you are using with every single post, you will get to know what hashtags work for you, which hashtags don't, and you will get seen and found by more of your target audience. And as a byproduct, the more you're being found by your people and serving them content that really speaks to them, the more likely they will be to actually comment and engage on your content. So don't forget, hashtags are really, really important. They shouldn't be an afterthought that you just stick on the end of your post. So the next thing I'm going to mention is something that I actually recently made an entire video about, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much here. I really, really encourage you to check this video that I'm going to mention after this one, because this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, and it is something that is so subtle and unnoticeable really that you probably don't even realize you're doing it. But that is that you are sending people away. Don't send people away from your Instagram account. And what I mean by that is don't include in your caption or in your stories for that matter text that says, check out the link in my bio. If that's all you're ever saying, or if it's what you're saying a majority of the time in your captions, head to the link in my bio to find out more, then you will never get comments on your content. People will not comment on that because it's not engaging, you're not sparking a conversation, you're not encouraging them to share their thoughts. It's quite it's a very quick way to shut down any kind of conversation or any kind of engagement on your content. Yes, they might comment if they really like the image, but remember, the image is what stops the scroll, but it's the caption that really starts building relationships with your audience and really starts to generate that meaningful engagement beyond a like. So don't send people away from your content. If you want comments, if you want conversation, if you want to start building relationships with your audience, scrap that as a CTA, use it very occasionally, and instead make that call to action. Comment below. Drop your thoughts below, drop an emoji, tag a friend, let me know what you think. There's so many different ways of saying it, but make sure you are encouraging people to leave a comment and letting them know that actually you want a dialogue with them. And then when they do comment below, make sure you actually comment back and engage with them and show that you appreciate them taking the time to leave that comment. Speaking of commenting back on people that comment on your content, this brings me on to my next piece of advice, which is to be engaging yourself. If you want engagement on your Instagram account and your Instagram content, then you have to be engaging. It is no longer enough to show up on Instagram with high quality content, beautiful captions that have a purpose, and expect people to come flocking. They won't. And that counts as well with hashtags. You can't have great imagery, great captions, great hashtags, and that's the end of it. You have to be engaging on Instagram in 2020 and beyond, as it stands right now, to actually get engagement back. Remember, engagement breeds engagement. So the more you go out and engage with people, leave comments, send them DMs, actually engage with them on a human level, the more you will see that engagement returned, and the more signals, the more positive signals this will send to the Instagram algorithm, telling the Instagram algorithm that you are a valuable account worth prioritizing in the feeds of your followers and people that look like them in their explore page. So that is why it's really important to be engaging. If you want to be engaged with, go and be engaging yourself. And as I mentioned, that also really includes engaging with your existing community. There is no point hoping and praying that more people, more strangers and more people will come and follow your account and you will grow your following if you can't nurture and connect with your existing community. That's why it's really important that you do prioritize communicating with them, engaging with them, leaving comments on their content. And anybody that is already commenting on your content, comment back to them. Do not leave their comments hanging, because they're already engaged with you. They are already rooting for you. They're already taking the time to comment on your content. So don't neglect them. Make sure that you're also engaging with them, because they're there already leaving you comments. You've already got some comments there, and the more engaging you are with them, the more those comments will continue and increase. The next thing to say, which might freak out some of you who don't like sharing much of yourself, but it's worth saying it because it really is, for me and for lots of accounts I know and clients I've worked with, no matter the brand, no matter the industry, no matter the niche, sharing more pictures of you, or at least of people, is a really, really effective way of generating more comments. Why? Because sharing pictures of people, particularly if it's you, the person behind the brand or the business, it builds a personal connection with your audience. It puts a face to an otherwise faceless account. They can see what you look like, they can really get a picture of you in their mind, and then when they read that caption, it feels like you are really speaking to them. And that is really what drives comments. So I really encourage you to be bold and be brave and share more images of you, along with captions that are more honest, more vulnerable, more open, because when you couple an image of you with a caption like that, it's really going to spark conversation in the comment section, because people are going to feel like they are able and willing to comment with you, to chat with you. They're going to feel comfortable to do so because you are doing the same. So I really encourage you to share more of you. So the final thing I'm going to mention before I wrap up today's video is talking about the bigger picture of engagement. I know this video is about comments, but I couldn't talk about comments and engagement without also mentioning how important things like Instagram stories and DMs are. One of the key ways to increase engagement with your audience is to build habits within people. Now, when I say that, what I mean is your audience needs to get used to seeing calls to action from you. They also need to see these CTAs in your Instagram stories. And the more you share them, the more people will feel comfortable actually responding to your CTAs. So if you are new to this, if you haven't shared many CTAs before and you're hearing crickets, then don't worry. That is what everybody experiences. No matter how good they are at Instagram, no matter how big they are, everybody started at the same point, which was putting out CTAs and not getting a lot back. It's a habit you need to build within your audience. And that doesn't just stop at your captions. It also covers your Instagram stories. So in your Instagram stories, make sure you're also encouraging people to engage with you. And you can do that by including CTAs in your stories, by including interactive stickers, so you are getting people used to actually interacting with you and engaging with you, and then chat with people, follow up with them. If they engage on a poll sticker of yours, follow up with the people that did and have chats with them in the DMs. All of these actions feed into the cycle of engagement. And the more you put out CTAs, the more people will follow suit and engage with you on your captions, on your stories, and the more comfortable they will feel across the board engaging with you and leaving you comments and having chats with you in the DMs. So that's why it's really important to just be really forthright and really proactive with this calls to action, with this engagement, and you will see it returned by your audience. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up and to hit the subscribe and bell button so you never miss a new video when it drops every single Friday. There's a bunch of free resources in the description box below, including a link to my free 4-day email challenge. So if you would like to sign up to that, please do. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week for a brand new video. Bye.